Hello everyone! We just got done with a brand new Transformer Fan First Tuesday / Power Ranger Fan First Tuesday, which I was going to talk about as well, but there's barely anything to talk about, so we'll get to that at the end. But there's a ton of Transformer stuff, so we're going to go on and talk about that. As usual, if you like the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe on your way out, and of course, if you want to drop a couple bucks into Patreon, I would really appreciate that, because it does genuinely help keep the channel afloat. Alright, plugs quickly out of the way. We have to start talking. Right, so the RoboSen Optimus is getting, what, a third wave of releases? So I'm happy that went over so well. The big reveal, despite having all those headlights pointing at Prime, which makes you think, oh, they're doing another car. They're doing Bumblebee. They're doing the Fair Lady Z's. No. They're doing a trailer. The trailer auto converts. That does include the tower as well. I didn't catch if it, oh, well, I guess that answers it, yeah. So it auto-converts into the tower as well. Like, that's actually super impressive. It comes with Spike, it's app-controlled, yeah. It apparently drives itself as well. I don't think it has the same control Prime does as far as driving, but cool that the option's there. Cool that it combines with the roller. I don't think the roller, I don't know. I will be honest, I kind of skipped this because this is the kind of thing's just so crazy expensive. It blows my mind that there's a self-transforming Optimus Prime that costs $1,500 at the end of the day. Alright, so, yeah, Forge to Fight announcements, IDW book announcements. Yeah, we're not interested in them. Toys. Show me toys. Alright, so legacy stuff we've already seen. They did a little bit of behind the scenes on basically the process of getting the Prime RC into the Generation style, which I do acknowledge. I understand why they went that direction, so everything kind of matches from the War for Cybertron series. Fine, whatever. I still think people would appreciate accuracy, but that's just me. All right, Wild Rider. So he was showing off a little bit early, so we had a good look at him already. The vehicle looks great. I think the robot also looks pretty good. People are making a big thing about the back kibble, but with the way it works in the vehicle mode with the way it works in the leg mode, I should say, for Menasor, I actually kind of understand why he ended up that way. I saw people just arguing like that. Oh, his wheels aren't. Oh, terrible. You know, they didn't even put the wheels on the shoulders like it's in the cartoon. Terrible toy. I love how, like, the placement of wheels somehow makes people experts on Transformer engineering all of a sudden. Admittedly, I'm guilty of that sometimes too, but, like, I think that's when you're squabbling over where the wheels ended up, I think that's a little nitpicky. I do think it looks fine. Like, backpack or otherwise, I think it looks fine. Okay. I was really hoping the rumor was false and it wasn't going to be a Jazz retool. He is a very heavy Jazz retool, but he's still, you know, it's still him. I mean, for a G1 style knockout, I guess that's fine. It's closer to IDW style, I guess. I don't know. I'm glad Knockout's getting any new attention because he's definitely a character that deserves it. But man, his animation model has such a unique look to the robot mode. I really wish they found a way to keep it. I understand it's not an easy one to translate into a deluxe, but man, I wish they tried. Vehicle mode looks awesome. I love how the vehicle mode looks. Like, I'll give them this. Like, there's so few parts I don't see Jazz when I look at them. So that's what I want out of a retool or a repaint. So that is fine. By the way, the presentations of these is still terrible. Like, the people talking about these sound like there's a script right behind the camera. They have to remember the bullet points, and they just don't sound interested. I mean, the designers, fine, but, like, they don't feel excited. Like, I still feel like a fan has to be on the panel just so someone's, like, super, like, genuinely excited for, like, what's coming up. And your job as the designer is to go, you know, the job of the marketing team is to push the features. The job of the design team is to go into the details about how it came to be and how things work. And then let someone else bring the excitement. Because the format itself still is, like, awkward. I think this is the first one that people got, like, super excited when they saw it. Tarantulas looking awesome. A little bit late, but hey, welcome as always. Now we see him. Looking fantastic. He looks absolutely spectacular. I love that they gave him the little buzzsaw from his transmetal form. And I'm glad they didn't pull a Cheetor and make that his only weapon. They actually did give him his actual missile launcher. Doesn't look like it fires a missile now. It's just a static weapon, just like Black Arachnia's, but I will take it. I will take it. Looking fine. The ball joints in the beast mode legs, I'm not as much of a fan of, so it's not likely he's going to be able to stand up on his own. Though he's so fat, I don't think that's a requirement. I guess at least they're posable, so that's going to be important. His beast mode hands are very much sticking out. That's accurate to the original toy, and the animation model to a much lesser extent, but still. I like the fur detail. I like that it keeps the aesthetic from Kingdom, so it's all going to match when you've got them next to each other. That all works out really well. He does look, it looks like he shares some engineering with Black Arachnia, but that's really to be expected. I mean, they were originally the same tooling, but this looks really, really good. I'm like thrilled with how Tarantulas turned out. Yeah, I'm gonna have a nice set of season 1 cons now. Just give me that. No, just waiting on Inferno now. Just waiting on Inferno. Elita 1. Okay, so I heard rumors that she was going to actually be a Minerva pre-tool, and that is exactly what she looks like. She looks like she's going to be straight up Minerva. But I really don't care about that. Don't care about that at all. Like, more importantly, look at her. She's got her backpack is pretty much comparable to what the boys get. Like, she's not really sacrificing her robot mode for the sake of, like, sticking her vehicle on her back. It looks like her robot parts convert into parts of the vehicle. I mean, compared to how we've seen in the past, it's far more improved. I also like, he showed off this trick later. We'll talk about it because I'm sure there's a shot of it. The vehicle mode, I think, is fine. If it's going to be Minerva at some point, I could see it getting a little bit retooled from there. But it's fine. Like, to give her a more unique vehicle mode, I don't mind that so much. Considering there's only a passing shot of it in the cartoon, I don't mind them playing around a bit and giving us something a little bit different than just like another another red sports car, right? I think this is like a happy little medium. The bit of her head sticking out, like, I think that's a cute detail too, because I mean, it's good that it's removable if you don't like how it looks, but that is a piece of the animation that is accurate. Like, that's how like her car mode looked in the G1 cartoon, what little bit of it we saw. Glad that they did a little bit of a homage to that. It's also where Minerva's light bar is going to go, so might as well use it, right? And yeah, you can see right there where you can have those big shoulder pylons fold down, so she's just got a backpack and looks a lot cleaner. And that way Minerva is going to look a lot different, because I'm sure she's going to get retools in the chest and the vehicle mode, but that's also going to set her apart. I love when they do things like that. Optional transformation steps so the two can look different from each other. I feel like I'm talking about Minerva more than I'm talking about Elita 1. No, Elita 1 is very much what I've been thinking like RC needs to be. A lot more, let her be bulkier. Let her have more components that turn into the vehicle mode. Don't just have it just hanging off her back. She's still got kibble, but it's a well-worn kibble, and it looks a lot more minor than it has in the past. So we're again moving in the right direction. We're getting away from that Earthrise RC look. Yep. All Deluxe is looking nice. Speaking of looking nice, oh my god. When the listings for Jaxus came up, I actually wasn't that hopeful that this would turn out. I figured I'd see something else in him, like whatever other character he was supposed to be. No, he is just straight up G2 Jaxus, and with no compromises whatsoever. It just straight up looks like he came out of the G2 comic book, and it's phenomenal. It's way better than I expected it to be. Jet mode is fine. I think it's a little bit longer than the one he had in the comic book. It's been so long since I read the comics, but looks fine. I like that he even has little bat wings on his legs. That's a completely unnecessary detail, but I'm glad they included it. I think the way his shoulders are going to work the way I don't really like, where like the upper movement is in the torso and then you just get rotation at the shoulder. I never like how that looks. It feels like it comes out like there's like the posability and the positioning gets awkward. So I really wish he had universal shoulders. But I will take what I can get because he actually does look like really impressive. Like I did not expect him to look that accurate and clean. Like he doesn't have like any extra junk going on. He's just straight up like a super clean looking Transformer. Very, very cool. I like he even has the G2 logo on him. When the listings came up, everyone was hoping it was Prime Soundwave getting a new toy. And then when people pointed out that like Soundwave PR doesn't mean Prime, it means a previous release. It means it's a repackage of a previous figure. And then people went, oh, well, we're going to get the Netflix Soundwave that everyone wants and goes for crazy money on eBay. Nope. We're getting Siege Soundwave, sans battle damage. Remember, okay, so I already went on a rant about how, like, they knew fans, by and large, fans didn't like the battle damage. And it felt really scummy to re-release Galvatron and make that as a selling point. Oh, hey, look, we listened to you. There's no battle damage now. They knew. They knew all along. This is the plan. This is the plan. I would like very much expect, like, I would very much expect more of these. I would expect this to be like the thing where we're gonna put in deco that most fans don't like, and then we're gonna take it off when we re-release it. So that way it's cheaper the second time around, but more people are buying it, and we're gonna trick people into buying it twice. More to the point, why is it Siege Soundwave when nobody wants that mold anymore? Everyone wants the Netflix mold. This was, like, this all around just feels like a bad decision. This just feels like a bad decision. You made a Soundwave that's going to shelf warm. Blitzwing was also previously revealed, so they just kind of glossed over him. I like how they talked about the tank mode, because the tank mode is animation accurate. And, you know, when you think of animation accurate, it looks fine. But they didn't even mention the jet mode. They just kind of glossed one picture, glossed over it, then went straight. Look at how cool his head is. So I was kind of amused that they just kind of even they in passing acknowledged, yeah, that it's not great. Moving on. All right, so still, like, I think as a robot looks fine. I think the tank looks fine. I mean, I hate that the jet sacrificed so hard. But it's still Blitzwing. The Hulk hands are still dumb. I don't care how happy you look holding them up. They are still dumb and pointless. Just made him a Voyager. Just like make him a $34 Voyager or whatever. He shouldn't have been a leader release. He shouldn't have been a leader release. You just didn't have enough. You didn't have enough extra. There's not enough extra to that toy to make me feel like it's worth 50. Here, okay, let's talk extra. Because I think Motormaster was really surprising. So, first look at Motormaster. I like that they had the designer going over it a little bit too. That's a nice touch. Looking really good in the robot mode. A little bit chunky in the legs, but other than that, I really like the look of him. I've always liked the look of Motormaster. Always. So I really like how spot on he is. I like how different from Optimus he is. They didn't backdoor work in an Optimus retool in any of the designs, so really appreciate that. The trailer does look a little bit short. I guess we're just not getting around that. But considering what it's going to do, I don't really mind. Still looks really good as a Motormaster. I wish that stripe had continued through the toy. Like, here's the thing. Like, sometimes they will make the they will use the PA plastic, the unpaintable plastic, an excuse for what they kind of explain that for like the white that remains in his truck mode. And I'm still thinking, like, isn't there, like, why didn't you just mold it in black? Like, why did you throw it on a white sprue when it should have been on a black sprue? There's no black PA in this you could have thrown it into. I don't know. Again, I don't know toy engineering or designing. I don't know how the budgetary thing works out. But they also use it as like an excuse for why that purple stripe stops there in the middle. And there's part of me saying, okay, fine, it's unpaintable. Put a sticker on it. Like, not a metallic sticker, just a sticker. Just like a plain purple stripe that just continues through that pattern. Why is that not a thing? That seems like a very obvious solution there. That's again, that's the only thing like distracts me when I look at the robot at the vehicle mode. Everything else I really like the look of this particular Motormaster. I love that they figured out a base mode for it, and I think a lot of people, I think the rumor is out there already, but this got a lot of people thinking Thunderclash might be in the works as a retool. I'm not sure how you do Thunderclash without trying to figure out a new combiner team with all the Stunticons. I mean, if the Stunticons ended up like retooled into a whole bunch of like Euro G1 Transformers that combined onto Thunderclash, I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't complain in the least. I think that'd be super cool. I mean, I don't mind that. I actually don't mind the base mode. Like, I know it's kind of cobbled together from like the combined robot mode parts, but I think for what it is, I think it actually works out. I think it actually works. And the fact that the main turret can extend and lower thanks to the arm engineering, that way Motormaster and Voyager size toys can all use it. That's a really cool touch. That's a really cool touch. All right, so we get into, we see, okay. So we get into how all of this combines. So this was cool. So this is kind of explaining why name's blanking now. It explains why Wild Rider has that weird kibble to him, because it had to be done like this in order to connect to Metasaur. So I love this idea where combining the characters completes the transformation. So like there's panels that only flip out when you attach Wild Rider, or I guess it's going to end up being a dead end or breakdown. I don't remember which one was the leg. But I like that idea that like plugging that in actually causes a bit of auto transform and fills out the size, so it looks like they're actually contributing to the combination. And the fact that it matches the underside of the original toy, I think, is also a really cool, subtle touch. So yeah, so like that's why he has to have that weird back kibble, because it has to be able to fold up in order to fit the leg. I don't mind that so much. Okay, and then the arm for drag strip. I showed in the review how there was a tab that extends out. Bolt Matrix over on Twitter actually gave me credit for predicting how this gimmick would work, admittedly. That might have just been like me not describing things well, because I know I did not foresee this. The fact that combining it to Metasaur has a button to already trigger that latch, and then you extend out the arm to separate it, which means you're not actually doing any part forming. The toy is doing the part forming for you, and it's all staying connected. That's a really cool approach. Like, I haven't seen anything like that since Armada Overload, where you had parts that technically detached from where they originally were, but they slid right into a new spot. So technically it's part forming, but it never leaves the toy. So it's actually just like a really slick bit of engineering. And this follows that same design philosophy. I love it. I love how this works. This instantly sells me on how these Stunticons work and operate. You know, it's not just plugging them onto Metasaur. There's satisfying elements to it that make it a lot more toyetic, and it makes it a lot more interesting about how it works. This is cooler than I expected it to be. Now I'm down. Now I'm absolutely down for a new Metasaur. And even from a partial, you can see just how much better it's going to look than the Combiner War version. It's going to look so good. And I do like how it does form, like, I can't remember if they showed the back of the box. I know they showed the front. Okay, no, they don't show the back of the box here. People have taken a shot of the back of the box, because that leaked too. And you can actually see that Menasor can form a super robot with his trailer itself. It just has thin arms and hollow shins. So even by itself, you can still get more play value out of the Menasor experience, which I think is super cool for them to do. Like, it makes Motormaster like a complete toy without having to buy a whole bunch of extra. That's a really cool touch. Shattered Glass is going to continue. They announced that the comics were going to continue, which is interesting because IDW is about to lose the comics, so I don't know if they're just like producing them in advance and releasing them later this year or what, or if like every Shattered Glass in the second series is going to be done in like the next few months, like get it out before IDW loses the license. But I Delta Magnus or let's get this right. Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus, based on the Diaclone colors. Oh, no! No, why'd you close? Why'd you close? We were so far. We were so far. Come on. Come on. There we go. I don't know why I did that. All right. I was worried that it would come with the skull head. I'm not a fan of the skull head, especially because it's not using a G2 Optimus body, which I'd like to acknowledge that they had the opportunity to do that, but more than that, they also wanted to provide an opportunity to get a Delta Magnus. So there's an optional head, the original Magnus tooling, that you can screw the skull head off, attach this instead, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. At that point, it is one red Autobot sticker away from being like a toy that I've been asking for a long time. I love the colors on Delta Magnus. I love how it looks that way. I'm going to be thrilled, absolutely thrilled to be able to actually own one now without having to spend crazy money on like the Masterpiece, which is so far like the only alternative to this. They call the Inner Robot Magna Convoy too. I kind of hope they just keep the Convoy name and not just like, oh, it's Magna Prime. You know, I actually prefer them making it a little bit different. All right. He comes with Laser Prime Sword too, so he actually has a little bit of that touch from the G2 Magnus, like Shattered Glass Magnus. I think that's a cool touch too. All right, so yeah, that's everything we got from the Transformer side of things. Actually does look like it's a lot. I'm actually surprised there's a lot to this presentation that hadn't been leaked anywhere. They knew what they were doing with this shot. Oh my god, like they're doing so many Decepticons and Predacons and Elita 1 all by herself. That's kind of sad. That's kind of sad. Like, she's got no backup whatsoever. I know, I guess it's just going to be a Decepticon year. But they look fantastic. Like, Soundwave is super disappointing. And I really wish they had done more to Knockout to bring his more unique design elements into him. But everyone else looks amazing and better than I thought. And I'm surprised we had so few of these that were leaked ahead of time. Blitzwing leaked. And they prematurely, you know, they showed Breakdown prematurely. Or Wild Rider. Why do I keep messing it up? Wild Rider. They showed Wild Rider early. Everything else, though, is completely fresh and our very first look at it. And I think that's fantastic. That's an improvement from the last time. I think Hasbro kind of knew that like they had to push things out a little bit more. Like the last time was kind of a joke. You know, they had next to nothing that we hadn't already seen. So this is a marked improvement. Thank you very much, Hasbro, for showing a whole bunch of really cool new stuff. I really think I'm trying to decide like what's the best out of here, but I'm so happy with a lot of this stuff. I think Motormaster looks a lot better than I thought. Jaxus looks way better than I thought. I think it's somewhere between Motormaster and Tarantula, so I think is like the winner here. But I think that's when even then I'm still even like considering how Elita won in that discussion. I think shows just like how good of a selection of stuff that looks like. Okay, so for the Power Ranger stuff, it was pretty minimal. It's like 15 minutes, which is like not barely anything. They showed off the Zap Dragon Zord, which we had already saw a leak of the Mega Dragon Zord, so we knew it was on the way. It was not in the final colors. The gold is going to be brighter. The green is going to be richer. So it's just a proof of concept, which is fine. They showed the Dragon Zord battle mode, looking really good. I wish I had seen more any kind of articulation it was capable of, because it's still got the Mastodon in there, so I know it's got all the arms. The way the Dragon Zord transforms for the Mega Dragon Zord, I know it's not gonna have a waist joint, but like hips and knees. I'm looking for hips and knees. And I'm also looking to make sure, like, fingers crossed that it doesn't have like any kind of part forming of any kind, because there's some beefy pieces in there, so it wouldn't surprise me if some things had to be taken off. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. They showed off a weird mask that had like a little like kicking, flailing Red Ranger hanging off of it. I don't get that. I don't get that. I don't get designing things like that, which seem kid-centric, based on properties only adults know, like Mighty Morphin. Like, that seems weird to me, but okay. Okay, we'll go with that, alright. They showed off the Lord Drakon helmet, which looks cool. Nothing really to say about that. Still haven't shown off any more small Zords for Dino Fury, which I don't know. They're doing 2 more large figures, but they're not doing any more small ones, and it's so confusing. Like, why are you giving me so few of those little ones to work with? I know they made so more in Japan. You could remold them to make more in America. Like, that's where your money is, in those little sets that give us a lot more combination and weapon options, and they're not doing it. And I don't understand. It's so stupid. It's such a missed opportunity. I think, and of course, like, the big reveal for it was like their version of the Red Ranger's power sword, which I think they treated much like a Force FX lightsaber, both in price point and functionality. I do like that, like, you can like slide your hand up the blade and it charges up the way that, you know, a Red Ranger would charge their weapon for a final slash. That's a super cool touch. That's a super cool touch. There are listings in computers for more of these power weapons, so if they're all life-size, if they're all 1-to-1 scale, and they actually form a power blaster, it's going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be insanely heavy, but the weapon combination itself is going to be absolutely nuts. I'm like super looking forward to that, if that's actually what they end up doing. All right, so those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. This was actually, the Power Ranger side of things was a pretty weak presentation. They didn't have much. But the rest of it, like, yeah, like the the Transformer stuff was like super dense, lots of stuff to reveal and talk about. It's actually like really, really cool. This wasn't even like they're doing like 5th anniversary Forged to Fight stuff too. We didn't even get to that. But I want to talk about the toys as you see them going like super fast across the screen. All right, I'm calling it there. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah, super exciting stuff. And like really happy that there's so much of here that was completely new to us. So looking forward to it. Considering most of this stuff has a December 2022 release date. Looking forward to it for a long time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.